What's good, coaches? It's Coach Furtado here, and I'm going to talk about servant leadership. So at first, I want to start out with a story about. So last week, I was hooping with my former JV basketball coach. He had a huge influence on me because he was also like my summer camp coach. Like he ran the AAU program, so he had a big influence. And yeah, we were getting to talking about, because right now he is coaching. He just won a state title at a small school out in Humboldt County. And so with that, I really learned a lot from him in our conversation about how he's shifted his kind of coaching philosophy. And I wanted to share that with y'all. And so he's kind of shifting more towards a servant leadership mindset versus kind of, a little bit more of a traditional coach of, we're going to use a menu when you go out to order food. So when you go to order food, right, like there are some restaurants that only have, a couple things on the menu, right, and that you got to make your selection. And so as a coach, he was talking to me about different ways of wanting to give his kids an opportunity to learn and grow. So with that, it's, say you have a restaurant and you want to do 5 different ways. Well, you got different kids, so you have to have different options on the menu because one size does not fit all, especially in this generation. I think one of the things I'm just noticing is kids are just their needs are a little bit more are greater after the pandemic, like their need for knowing that people care. I think they see so much stuff on social media, and I'm not an exact psychologist. This is just my observations that they really need people that care about them outside of their sport. And even before the pandemic, but I feel like it's even more important now than ever to really show you care. So with that, he was telling me about asking them questions and bringing them in as a group and just, being like, hey, what do y'all want from the season? What are your goals? So always asking them, because I think sometimes as a coach, we become dictators, and we're like, hey, this is what practice looks like. This is what it's going to be, and so he was talking about getting multiple speakers and having fun and just really, kind of being a servant for them. And I think that's an important thing where I had a light bulb click, and I was just like, we are coaches for them. We had our playing experience, our playing days. And you know what? As a young coach, I haven't coached as many teams, but I'm sure he will create a different menu for each team. And honestly, it'll probably be a different menu for each part of the season, right? At the earlier part of the season, you probably have to teach a little bit more about your offense, your defense, all the plays. And there's going to be less choices on the menu because Coach has some things that he really needs to be important. But, as the season changes and goes on and you play for a longer time, right, you don't want your guys to burn out or your girls to burn out because, you only had 1 or 2 options on the menu. So make sure that we're doing that. So the 3 things that I'm really thinking about for servant leadership is, number 1, asking them questions. And number 2, it's just coaching them how they want to be coached, not how you want to be coached, because again, it's their experience and not ours. So with that being said, it's an opportunity to take them from point A to point B. And again, it goes from that first one of asking them questions. Where do they want to go, right? Are they a person that likes to get yelled at? Some people, they won't really listen to you if you're whispering to them and whatnot. They need that little kick in the butt. But some people shut down. Their confidence gets knocked down if you're always yelling at them. So, it's going to take some mistakes by coach and making some observations. But with that being said, we can better understand our athletes after we make some of those mistakes, and we ask them, how do you want to be coached? And we can coach them in that way. That way we can take them from point A to point B in the best way possible, not only for the team, but also for their individual development. And I think the last one is to offer more items on the menu and always be serving. Again, don't only come in and do one thing. And I do think it's really important actually to have consistency in your schedule, right? Me saying, have more than one thing doesn't mean completely change your practice structure and, it means just ask them what else they want to do. Maybe they want some shooting drills. Maybe it's just speakers. All they want to do is bump some music in the locker room, right? Like, it doesn't always have to be a different, don't change your philosophy or anything, but giving them more choice, because kids want choice. And in this world where, their parents tell them to do this, society's telling them they should go here, they got teachers telling them they can't do this, and that, and now they got coach telling them they can only do this, right? You got to give kids choice. They want autonomy. They want ownership over their experience. So that is my thoughts on being a servant leader. Please leave your thoughts on servant leadership below. I'm definitely not the only person that knows about servant leadership, so I'd love to learn from you as well. Make sure you subscribe. Bridging Impact be posting a lot of youth sports content for coaches, parents, athletes, the whole 9 yards. So let's get after it.